Hi, Roy here on my channel Roy Reads Anything, including occult detective fiction. Something I like a lot, so I was really excited when MJ announced Occult Detective October, a reading event where we can all explore the genre of the occult detective, and even more gratifying, I was invited to be one of the co-hosts. So I've joined an illustrious team, which I'll link to down in the nether regions. So, yes, between us, we'll be looking at all sorts of occult detectives. So I'll just give my own idea as to what occult detective fiction is. I think it's stories where there's a protagonist who investigates supernatural occurrences or engages with the supernatural in some way as a detective. I think there's got to be that element of finding out, rather than, say, sort of a warrior character who battles the super monsters or whatever. I think there's got to be some detection. So it's sort of a role. It's not just somebody who stumbles into a haunted house. It's more about someone whose profession, vocation, calling is regularly dealing with supernatural stuff. And as a genre, its roots go back a long way. But like a lot of genres, it really seemed to have crystallised around Victorian times and early 20th century, where you got, a particular sort of a flourishing of fiction where just things came together. The idea of the consulting detective in the sort of Sherlock Holmes model, together with the occult, and all in an atmosphere when the public were really interested in things like spiritualism, and the occult was seen as an emerging new science. So interesting stuff there, and that's where you get great characters like Carnacki the Ghost Finder, John Silence, etc. And there's others you can count in as well, Abraham Van Helsing in Dracula, for instance. But as a genre, it's one that's persisted. Now, personally, I'm a lot more familiar with the old stuff than with the new stuff. So that's why this event's exciting to me, because it will be an opportunity to learn from others and also to experience some of the more recent stories. Having said that, I do regularly read Occult Detective magazine, which has got new work in it. So highly recommend this. It's on Kindle as well as physical. Great that there's a sort of regular platform for the genre that's got some great articles as well. But like I say, I've read a lot in the classic period, not so much modern stuff. So the idea of the event is do what thou wilt in terms of reading something in the occult detective world. But we've got weekly prompts for those who want them. 4 weeks. The first week is to look at the classic period, pre-1960. Then we got modern, post-1960, and a week of diverse authors. So however one might think of diversity, we'll be looking for a diverse author or character in our occult detective reading. And then at the end, an anything goes week. So for me, classic time. I said I've read a lot. For instance, this great anthology in the British Library, Tales of the Weird series, called The Ghost Slayers, Thrilling Tales of Occult Detection, edited by Mike Ashley. You can get this on Kindle, including Kindle Unlimited, as well as a book, and has a really good selection of the early stories. But like I say, I've read that already. But one thing I haven't read is all of Giving Up the Ghosts, edited by Tim Prasil. So short-lived occult detective series by 6 renowned authors. So I have read Fitzjames O'Brien's Harry Escott, whose 2 stories are thought to be some of the earliest ones, but I've not read Gellert Burgess's Enoch Garish. 3 stories: The Levitant, The Spectre House and The Ghost Extinguisher. I've not read Algernon Blackwood's Jim Shorthouse stories. So these are a character earlier than his much better known John Silence. I have read L.T. Mead and Robert Eustace's Diana Marburg, but I've not read A.M. Burridge's Derek Scarp or Conrad Richter's Matson Bell. So lots of stuff there I'll probably get into, but it's a very fluid TBR. I also really ought to read this, Mysteries of Myra. Now this it's a lost film serial, so episodes shown regularly at cinemas, but it also had a concurrent serialization in newspapers, so you could watch it and or read it in the paper, which is pretty cool if you think about it. If you missed an episode, you could read it. So although it's lost as a film, there's lots of stills surviving and this novelisation text. So 1916, Beware the Black Order. And there is an occult detective as well. The world's first psychic detective, Dr. Payson Alden, and his friend Hadji, the Brahman mystic, can save Myra from the terrors of the Grand Master of the Order. He wants to claim not only her fortune, but also apparently her soul, by means of suicide-inducing spells, invasion of her chamber by evil spirits, and even reanimation of the dead by a fire elemental. So that sounds like it's loaded with fun. Mysteries of Myra. Yeah, give that a go, I think. So there's a classic week, there's a modern week. Well, I definitely want to read a book that's been calling to me from my shelves since I bought it. Volume 1 of Landon Connor's Occult Detective by Bob Freeman. Bob Freeman, who is actually a co-host of the event and has a great channel as the Occult Detective. So it's a really well presented book, and obviously it's a collection of stories about his quite a few stories about Landon Connors, his hero, with some cool illustrations as well. Then if I have time, I've got some as yet unvisited anthologies of modern day occult detective stories. One called Dark Detectives, edited by Stephen Jones. One called Weird Detectives, Recent Investigations, edited by Paula Curan. There are lots of good stuff in here as well, so I should at least delve into those. Diversity Week. I actually thought, I was in our local branch of Waterbones and thought I'll just see what can I find on the shelves that looks most like an occult detective story. So I got this Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu, who is, I gather, of Zimbabwean origin and has a character who calls upon her Zimbabwean magic and Scottish pragmatism to hunt down clues. Set in Edinburgh. Roper dropped out of school to become a ghost stalker, and Edinburgh's dead sure do love to chat. So yeah, definitely going to be getting to that. And then for the Anything Goes week, I'm relying on watching everybody else's videos to pick up some stuff that sounds cool from everybody else, the team. MJ's appeared in all of our after credit sequences to say I'm putting a team together, invited us into this great collective endeavour. So that is my announcement and tentative TBR for Occult Detective October. That's next month. I'll also be stripping away this top shelf here. that's going to be all occult detective stuff, and I'll probably do a little shelf tour as well. There's an exciting new British Library book that's supposed to come out in October. If that happens, I'll be talking about that too. So yeah, it's occult detectives all the way. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with something else.